prosper in purpose. Good morning. It is your girl, Pastor Courage Molina of Bold Faith Community Church. This is day 58 in our chronological Bible reading plan. We're going to be reading Numbers 8 through 10. This is our, mornings in the Word. Yesterday, I was wondering, why do I keep saying daily Bible reading? That's what it is. But it's our mornings in the Word. And I love being able to spend these mornings with y'all. I guess I could have combed my hair a little bit, but that's cool. What's up? I feel slim, y'all. I mean, I don't know if I am slim, but I feel like I'm a little slimmer today. Okay. Day 8, or just kidding, chapter 8 in Numbers. Let's see what this is. Okay. It's a lot, but we're here for it. Preparing the lamps, chapter 8. Wait, I say this every day, don't I? Say wait, I don't know. Maybe I forgot. Wait. If you like these videos, and subscribe to this channel. If you're brand new, go ahead and subscribe. This is a great channel for you to subscribe to if you love the Word. And I mean love the Word. I know people love the Lord. People love Jesus. But if you love the Word, I just love being in the Word, or you want to fall in love with being in the Word, and you want to connect with a community of women who also love to be in the Word, if you geek out a little bit, or you want to be the type of woman that geeks out about the Word, you want to I want to read Numbers. Okay, I read Leviticus, I read Deuteronomy, right? You want to be a woman who, right? I'm becoming a woman who's not just reading the scriptures that are easy and exciting. I done read the whole book, and you want to feel that in your spirit, not to judge other people, but you know what I'm saying, you just want to feel that in your spirit. This is a great channel for you to subscribe to. Hit the notification button so you can see when we have new videos, when we stream live. We stream live Monday through Friday, and we stream live Monday through Saturday. And we are live in the chat Monday through Saturday. Monday through Friday is our mornings in the Word, 7 a.m. EST. Saturday morning, 8 a.m. EST is our Saturday sermon. It is when we at Bold Faith Community Church have church. It's on Saturday. And then we immediately following church, we get into our life group and we discuss the Word. So it's great. So join us. All right, now I'm ready. Chapter 8. The Lord said to Moses, "Give Aaron the following instructions when you set up the 7 lamps in the lampstand. Place them so their light shines forward in front of the lampstand." So Aaron did this. He set up the 7 lamps so they reflected their light forward, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. The entire lampstand, from its base to its decorative blossoms, was made of beaten gold. It was built according to the exact design the Lord had shown Moses. Then the Lord said to Moses, this is where the Levites are dedicated. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Now set the Levites apart from the rest of the people of Israel and make them ceremonially clean. Do this by sprinkling them with the water of purification and have them shave their entire body and wash their clothing. Then they will be ceremonially clean. Have them bring a young bull and a grain offering of choice flour moistened with olive oil, along with the second young bull for a sin offering. Then assemble the whole community of Israel and present the Levites at the entrance of the tabernacle. When you present the Levites before the Lord, the people of Israel must lay their hands on them. Raising his hand, Aaron must then present the Levites to the Lord as a special offering from the people of Israel, thus dedicating them to the Lord's service." Oh, yes. It's a special. Remember, I was like, I don't understand. How do you do it? It's a special offering from the people of Israel, thus dedicating them to the Lord's service. Verse 12. Now the Levites will lay their hands on the heads of the young bulls, present one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering to the Lord, to purify the Levites and make them right with the Lord. Then have the Levites stand in front of Aaron and his sons and raise your hands and present them as a special offering to the Lord. In this way you will set the Levites apart from the rest of the people of Israel, and the Levites will belong to me. After this they may go into the tabernacle to do their work, because you have purified them and presented them as a special offering. Of all the people of Israel, the Levites are reserved for me. I have claimed them for myself in place of all the firstborn sons of the Israelites. I have taken the Levites as their substitutes For all the firstborn males among the people of Israel are mine, both of people and of animals. I set them apart for myself on the day I struck down all the firstborn sons of the Egyptians. Yes, I have claimed the Levites in place of all the firstborn sons of Israel, and of all the Israelites I have assigned the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They will serve in the tabernacles on behalf of the Israelites and make sacrifices to purify the people so no plague will strike them when they approach the sanctuary. Okay, so later on, much later on in the book of Kings, First Kings, there's this lady who prays for a son, and then her son turns out to be Samuel, and she keeps him, and then she gives this firstborn son to the priest, basically. That when I read that, when I've read that, are y'all familiar with that? When I read that, it seems very strange. Like, dang, for her to love her son, for her to want to have a kid so much, for her to pray for it, for her to feel away, and then for her to be like, if I have this son, if you give me, a child, I will dedicate him to you for his entire life. And then for her to give her firstborn son, it seems like, oh my gosh. But it's looking like that was kind of custom, right? So while it seems like such an extreme thing, it really is just her following through. God, you've blessed me, and I won't keep this thing from you because it's the only son that I have. It's very good. Verse 20. So Moses, oh, it just makes me think of tithing. I know. I don't want to say it. But as I said, I wasn't going to say it, and I continue to read. The Lord's like, so you're not going to say it? So I'm going to say it. It just makes me think of tithing, how in my life, I needed, we were struggling financially, and I really needed something. And so then I would get it because I had been desperate for it. The Lord would provide, whether it was through a job or a raise or a bonus or something. And then I would be like, oh, but I can't give you 10% because I don't really have enough. Like, I was desperate. And if I give you 10%, then I'm going to be back to not having enough. When really I didn't have any of it. It just brings me to that mindset. I'm so glad that God has grown me from that. But it definitely brings me to the, like, I wonder what else, have we prayed and begged? Because Hannah prayed and begged for, and then gotten it, and then thought, well, since it's the only thing I have, what you've set up doesn't apply to me. She didn't do that. And I can see here that this is where it's being set up. The firstborns, all the firstborn sons of the Israelites. I've taken the Levites as their substitute. Okay. Verse 20. So Moses, Aaron, and the whole community of Israel dedicated the Levites, carefully following all the Lord's instructions to Moses. The Levites purified themselves from sin and washed their clothes, and Aaron lifted them up and presented them to the Lord as a special offering. He then offered a sacrifice to purify them and make them right with the Lord. After that, the Levites went into the tabernacle to perform their duties, assisting Aaron and his sons. So they carried out all the commands that the Lord gave Moses concerning the Levites. The Lord also instructed Moses, this is the rule the Levites must follow. They must begin serving in the tabernacle at the age of 25, and they must retire at the age of 50. After retirement, they may assist their fellow Levites by serving as guards of the tabernacle, but they may not officiate in the service. This is how you must assign duties to the Levites. So there's a prescribed amount of time. They're going to do it for 25 years. They'll start serving when they're 25. They'll do it for 25 years, and then they'll retire, but they'll still kind of work for the Lord, right? Still be in service to the tabernacle. I know why I'm yawning. It's not that I'm tired, because I'm not tired. All right, chapter 9, the second Passover. A year after Israel's departure from Egypt, the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai. In the first month of that year, he said, tell the Israelites to celebrate the Passover at the prescribed time, at twilight on the 14th day of the first month. Be sure to follow all my decrees and regulations concerning this celebration. So Moses told the people to celebrate the Passover in the wilderness of Sinai as twilight fell on the 14th day of the month. Because they're in the wilderness right now. I think I keep forgetting that. And they celebrated the festival there, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. But some of the men had been ceremonially defiled by touching a dead body, so they could not celebrate the Passover that day. They came to Moses and Aaron that day and said, we have become ceremonially unclean by touching a dead body. But why should we be prevented from presenting the Lord's offering at the proper time with the rest of the Israelites? Like, man, we've been clean all this time, and now because we have touched a dead body, We came in contact. We can't. We. It's not like we do the Passover every day. It's not like we do the Passover every week. So why should we not be able to present? It's basically what they're saying. Verse 8. Moses answered, "Wait here until I have received instructions from the Lord." This was the Lord's reply to Moses: "Give the following instructions to the people of Israel. If any of the people now or in future generations are ceremonially unclean at Passover time because of touching a dead body, or if they are on a journey and cannot be present at the ceremony, they may still celebrate the Lord's Passover." Look at God. They must offer the Passover sacrifice 1 month later at twilight on the 14th day of the second month. They must eat the Passover lamb at that time with bitter salad greens and bread made without yeast. They must not leave any of the lamb until the next morning, and they must not break any of its bones. They must follow all the normal regulations concerning the Passover. So you can't do it now, but it's just delayed. Not denied, but delayed. That'll preach. Ceremonially unclean means they were delayed from participating in this season. Sometimes the things that we are going through, though it may not be our own sin, right? It's not that I'm sinning, it's just that I'm going through a difficult time in my finances. It's not that I'm sinning, but I'm going through a difficult time in my marriage. It's not that I'm sinning, but I'm struggling emotionally or mentally. And so, as a result of that, some of the things that God wants us to participate in, our participation in them may be delayed, right? Not denied, but delayed. I love that. I just love that. Verse 13. But those who neglect to celebrate the Passover at the regular time, even though they are ceremonially clean and not away on a trip, will be cut off from the community of Israel. If they fail to present the Lord's offering at the proper time, they will suffer the consequences of their guilt. And if foreigners living among you want to celebrate the Passover to the Lord, they must follow these same decrees and regulations. The same law applies both to native-born Israelites and to the foreigners living among them. Verse 15, the fiery cloud. On the day the tabernacle was set up, the cloud covered it. But from evening until morning, the cloud over the tabernacle looked like a pillar of fire. This was the regular pattern. At night, the cloud that covered the tabernacle had the appearance of fire. Whenever the cloud lifted from over the sacred tent, the people of Israel would break camp and follow it. And wherever the cloud settled, the people of Israel would set up camp. And this way they traveled and camped at the Lord's command wherever he told them to go. Then they remained in their camp as long as the cloud stayed over the tabernacle. If the cloud remained over the tabernacle for a long time, the Israelites stayed and performed their duty to the Lord. Sometimes the cloud would stay over the tabernacle for only a few days, so the people would stay for only a few days as the Lord commanded. Then at the Lord's command, they would break camp and move on. Sometimes the cloud stayed only overnight and lifted the next morning, but day or night, when the cloud lifted, the people broke camp and moved on. Whether the cloud stayed above the tabernacle for 2 days, a month, or a year, the people of Israel stayed in camp and did not move on. But as soon as it lifted, they broke camp and moved on. So they camped or traveled at the Lord's command, and they did whatever the Lord told them through Moses. It reminds me of this Bible reading, right? We've been talking about this, just reading, like, why not just skip to the good parts? Why not skip to, whatever? It is like following the Lord's lead. We're going to read the Bible. He said for us to get in it every day. So we're going to get in it every day, whether it's for a long time or a short time. I'm going to get in it every day. And it also reminds me of the Karate Kid. I know, follow me though. It reminds me of the Karate Kid because, when Mr. Miyagi was teaching him wax on, wax off, and he was just leading him through these very mundane things, right? No decision, no insight, no nothing, just telling him what to do. He didn't tell him, okay, wax on, wax off, and that's going to teach you how to do this. He just told him what to do, and he just had to follow him, just had to obey him. But what he was really doing was training him, right? He was training the Karate Kid, and he would use those repetitive actions to go on to win like a karate championship or something like that, right? How is this like that? Well, the Lord is not telling them how long they're going to be there, when they're going to move on to the next thing, or why he's doing this, but he's training them. What would it look like in our lives if the only time we moved was when God said for us to move, regardless of how long it's been since our last move? I'm going to say it again. What would it look like in your life if you decided to follow God wherever He led you and you moved every time He led you to move, right? In life, in the world, wherever, regardless of how long it's been since the last time He told you to move. What I'm saying is, think about it like this. So, God has called you to write a book. So now you're writing a book, and then 10 days later, now He's telling you to do this. Are you going to pick up your stuff, including the book, and move and go through that thing? Or are you going to be like, well, the Lord's probably not telling me to move. It's just been a couple days. Do you know what I mean? Oh, maybe the Lord's not telling me. I just wonder if we move like this, where in our, what it would it look like? I'm always wondering, like, okay, now that's a great lesson that He's teaching them to just follow Him, no matter how long it's been since the last time I told you to do something. I wonder what it would look like in my own life if I follow God that way. Y'all never think about, I'll be thinking about that kind of stuff. All right, now we're on the last chapter, chapter 10, the silver trumpets. Now the Lord said to Moses, make 2 trumpets of hammered silver for calling the community to assemble and for signaling the breaking of camp. When both trumpets are blown, everyone must gather before you at the entrance of the tabernacle. But if only one trumpet is blown, then only the leaders, the heads of the clans of Israel, must present themselves to you. Hold on, I need to check something real quick. Y'all know I'm always, okay, I'm just going to check something. All right. Must present themselves to you. Verse 5. When you sound the signal to move on, the tribes camped on the east side of the tabernacle must break camp and move forward. When you sound the signal a second time, the tribes camped on the south will follow. You must sound short blasts at the signal for moving on. But when you call the people to an assembly, blow the trumpets with a different signal. Only the priests, Aaron's descendants, are allowed to blow the trumpets. This is a permanent law for you, to be observed from generation to generation. When you arrive in your own land and go to war against your enemies who attack you, sound the alarm with the trumpets. Then the Lord your God will remember you and rescue you from your enemies. Blow the trumpets in times of gladness too, sounding them at your annual festivals and at the beginning of each month, and blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings and peace offerings. The trumpets will remind your God of His covenant with you. I am the Lord your God. I mean, at the top of the month, like celebrating every month, the start of a new month. I think I like that. I'm always like, oh, that sounds so good. Maybe I could do that. Where it says in verse 8, this is a permanent law for you, it makes it easier to understand why the Jews of the New Testament were reluctant. Not all of, some of them were reluctant because they didn't want to give up their position. But while the Jews of the New Testament were reluctant to make changes, because so many of the things that they've been taught, it's a permanent law, it's a permanent law, it's a permanent law. Never, and the consequence of not following the law is you're gonna be cut off. You're gonna be cut off. Permanent laws, cut off. Permanent law, cut off. You know what I mean? Like, so I just wonder about. It just makes me have a little bit more compassion for those who were reluctant in the beginning, right? The Israelites leave Sinai. This is verse 11. In the second year after Israel's departure from Egypt, on the 20th day of the second month, the cloud lifted from the tabernacle of the covenant. So the Israelites set out from the wilderness of Sinai and traveled on from place to place until the cloud stopped in the wilderness of Paran. When the people set out for the first time, following the instructions the Lord had given through Moses, Judah's troops led the way. They marched behind their banner, and their leader was Nahshon, son of Amminadab. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Issachar, led by Nethanel, son of Zuar, and the troops of the tribe of Zebulun, led by Eliab, son of Elon. Then the tabernacle was taken down, and the Gershonite and Merarite divisions of the Levites were next in the line of march, carrying the tabernacle with them. Reuben's troops went next, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Eleazar, son of Shedeur. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Simeon, led by Shelumiel, son Shelumiel. Son of Zurishaddai, and the troops of the tribe of Gad, led by Eliasaph, son of Deo. I don't know what's happening today. Next came the Kohathite divisions of the Levites, carrying the sacred objects from the tabernacle. As much as I've been reading these, you'd think I'd be better by these names by now. Before they arrived at the next camp, the tabernacle would already be set up at its new location. Ephraim's troops went next, marching behind their banner. Their leader was Elishama, son of Ammihud. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Manasseh, led by Gamaliel, son of Pedasur, and the troops of the tribe of Benjamin, led by Abidan, son of Gideoni. Dan's troops went last, marching behind their banner and serving as the rear guard for all the tribal camps. Their leaders were Azashur, son of Amishadai. They were joined by the troops of the tribe of Asher, led by Pagiel, son of Akron, the troops of the tribe of Naphtali, led by Ahir, son of Enon. This is their marching order. This I always say that, and then it says it very next, verse 28. This was the order in which the Israelites marched division by division. Because sometimes you can know what it is, and then you just read it. It gets to like bogged down with the names and the details of that, and it's like, what is this? What are we even talking about? So sometimes I just stop to remind myself, okay, what I just read or what I'm reading, this is how they moved out from Sinai in their divisions. So like I remember what I'm reading about. Verse 29. One day Moses said to his brother-in-law, Hobab, son of Ruel, the Midianite, we are on our way to the place the Lord promised us. For he said, I will give it to you. Come with us, and we will treat you well, for the Lord has promised wonderful blessings for Israel. But Hobab replied, no, I will not go. I must return to my own land and family. Please don't leave us, Moses pleaded. You know the places in the wilderness where we should camp. Come be our guide. If you do, we'll share with you all the blessings the Lord gives us. They marched for 3 days after leaving the mountain of the Lord with the ark of the Lord's covenant moving ahead of them to show them where to stop and rest. As they moved on each day, the cloud of the Lord hovered over them, and whenever the ark set out, Moses would shout, Arise, O Lord, let your enemies be scattered. Let them flee before you. And when the ark was set down, he would say, Return, O Lord, to the countless thousands of Israel. That is it for today. I did think about this guy who they invited to go along with them. He was like, I ain't going with y'all. I'm going back to stay with my family, to my family's land. That he was being invited to go with them and partake in the blessings of the Lord because of his knowledge and his relationship, not because of his holiness. God is really be trying to bless the people out here in these streets, right? Just made me think. It's just something that sticks out to me, something to meditate on. I pray that this has blessed you. As I've done every day, I want to invite you to join us at this retreat in July 14th through the 17th at the Grand Over Resort and Spa. If you are a woman who has never gone on a retreat, you've never invested in yourself like this. I've been to conferences as a business owner. I've been to networking events. I've been to musical events. I've been to festivals, and I went to retreats as a speaker or as a session leader. But if you've never gone, if you are a woman of faith and you've never invested in yourself for a retreat, like it's easy sometimes, or it's easier to invest in ourselves when it comes to it's easier for us to invest in ourselves when it comes to like business things, or because it's like, oh, but it's for my business, so it's like I'm allowed to do it. But when you think about the retreat is just for you. We don't invest in ourselves a lot of times when it comes to like self-care at this level. There are some things that we do. We might get a manicure, right? Get our eyebrows done. We might get our lashes, get our hair done or something like that. And it's like, okay, this is my self-care or whatever. But how often do you invest in yourself for self-care at this level? And so if you're a woman of faith that's never been to a retreat, let this be your first one. Let this be the first time that you decide to invest in yourself, that you decide to show yourself love in this way. I have this sweatshirt that I made. It's available on my website, couragemelina.org. But I have this sweatshirt that I made, and it says, I'm my own bae. Husband's like, please don't wear that shirt when we're together because I don't want nobody trying to say what's up to you because it makes you seem single. I'm like, it's not that I'm single. I'm my own bae. It's just a reminder for me to treat myself as well as I treat my man. And I spoil him. It's a reminder for me to treat myself as well as I treat bae. When Bae tired, Bae, you ain't got to do nothing. I allow Bae to take time off. I encourage Bae to do all these things because I love him, right? And this is not about what somebody does for me. It's about what I do for myself. Maybe somebody else does take care of you. He has horrible self-care. Okay, by the way, horrible self-care. He need a sweatshirt that say I'm my own bae. He need a sweatshirt for himself. He does not take the time. And that's often what happens. We pour out so much love for other people. How many times have you invested in one of these kids of yours to go somewhere, or a sister or a niece or something? How many times have you invested in that way? Because you love them, or because you wanted them to have the things that they want, or because they deserve some time off. Well, you deserve it too. It makes me want to sing, you deserve it. You deserve it. No, y'all don't want me to sing? Fine, I won't sing. But I won't sing, but I want to invite you. If you've never been to a retreat, not a vacation. It's not a vacation. If you've never been to a retreat, the retreat's a little bit slower than a lot of vacations we've been on. So come to this retreat. It's going to change your life. Go to boldfaithchurch.org and reserve your spot today. I want to see you there. I cannot wait to meet you. All right, this is it. I will see y'all tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad station. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification button, and bring somebody with you next time. All right, love y'all. Later.